Build. What is up? Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Matt Forte. We are here live at the Build Studio in New York City. Our next guest is having a hell of a run. You might have caught her recently alongside Jennifer Lopez and Leah Remini in Second Act, or you know her as Dr. Kapoor's friend and favorite barista on NBC's New Amsterdam. Also, check it out, she's got like 20 years experience conducting, arranging, and writing music. She studied and performed at Shakespeare's Globe Theatre in London and has been teaching for over like 15 years. She knows her stuff. We're excited she stopped by for a chat. I'm excited to bring her out. The crazy talented Dierdre Friel is here. How about that? Make some noise for Dierdre. Come on. She's awesome. We're going to bring her out in just a second. But first, I believe we have a look at her in action on New Amsterdam. So let's go ahead and run that clip.
Oh, hey.
Hey.
Ella, right?
Yeah. Are you waiting for your dad?
Oh, no. Just taking advantage of the free Wi-Fi.
Thanks. What are you writing?
Nothing.
Oh, no, come on. We've known each other a whole 2 minutes now.
I'm a songwriter. Go ahead, take your best shot.
Oh, I should have known your dad would raise the sensitive, artistic type.
Back then, he didn't do much raising.
Right. Sorry. He's just been so generous with me. I didn't mean to...
Generous? How?
Oh, my God, he totally saved my dog's life.
My dad's still a human neurologist, right?
Yep. But he paid for my dog's surgery.
He did?
Yeah. He gave me $2,000. I didn't even have to ask.
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, make a crazy amount of noise. The great Dierdre Friel's right here. Come on, do it up. Come on.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks so much.
Oh my gosh, it's so exciting to have you here. So much fun to have you on stage right now. I didn't realize, I was talking about all the amazing stuff you've done and you continue to do. I didn't realize until today, you're teaching right around the corner. Not a big commute.
I know. I don't have a big commute. Not here. Yeah, I teach at NYU. Yeah.
So awesome. Did you tell any of your students about tonight?
I had a couple students today who saw my picture on the promotional stuff, and they were like, "Oh, I'm in class," and I said, "Skip class."
Wait, did any of them come? Hang on a second.
No, they all are in class like they should be. Thank you.
Oh, really? I was about to go the other way and say, like, well, if they're watching live, y'all just failed. Like, this was the test.
That was it, guys. Sorry.
Well, I guess you're a better teacher than I could ever be. That I was encouraging them to skip class. What do I know? I tend to think we have a lot of fun here, though.
Oh, good.
So fine. They're being good students. They're there right now. What do you teach over at NYU? Because you've taught a ton of stuff over your career.
I have taught a lot. I teach a class that I call Singing for Actors with the Meisner Studio. Yeah, so it's for people who Meisner? Is someone Meisner?
Nice.
Hey!
There we go.
So it's like for people who are afraid of singing, and I'm like, oh, I don't have to be afraid of singing. But I do a lot of stuff with Meisner, but it's more music related. So when they do projects that have music in them, then I do stuff like that.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about this. Is so cool. This show just recently this month got renewed for a second season.
Yeah, we're
hold
very
for
excited.
applause.
Thank you.
That's super exciting. I saw you tweeting about that. I imagine you were really pumped to hear the news as well.
We're thrilled. It's really exciting. Yeah, and it's an amazing group of people, and there's no one who deserves it more. They're really wonderful. So I'm thrilled. Yeah.
How'd you find your way to New Amsterdam? How'd you get involved with the show?
I auditioned for the show, but I had done a play at the Signature Theater called Our Lady of 121st Street, written by Stephen Adly Gurgis, amazing playwright, and the casting director who put me in that, the character was sort of like extremely overly timid and shy. And so when New Amsterdam was coming around, he kept kind of bringing me in for different roles. And then he was like, this is a role you'd be perfect for, which is funny because normally I'm not playing these very timid, shy characters. But I think that's, sort of how he ended up seeing me. And it's become this really wonderful journey of finding a way of her out of her shyness. Yeah.
Especially more recently, like she's starting to like sort of be assertive and hold her ground, which I thought was great. A great little moment there. Did you have any idea that was the trajectory, that's where the story was going to go, and how she would sort of fit in that world between Dr. Kapoor and his son?
You know, I wasn't sure. I can't even speak. I don't know how much anyone was sure in terms of you know, it's been so wonderful to work on a series that's developing and being written as it's going along. But it's kind of wonderful to play, of course, opposite Anupam Kher, who's an amazing world-class actor. Yeah. And the friendship between these two characters is so wonderful because, you know, he's so, whatchamacallit, cerebral. And he's a neurologist, he's a head doctor, he's very, you know, full of thought. And I think Ella is so full of heart. And so the way that they work off of each other, and she's helped him, I think, a little bit open up and be a little more emotional. So yeah,
for sure. There's definitely, and it's so great to see this. There's a photo I want to throw to in a second. I took from your Instagram, but the two characters right now, there's a little bit of tension there. But I really enjoyed seeing this photo. They're going to bring it up in a second, and it just looks like you guys. Here we are.
Oh,
how sweet! Look at that. It looks like, yeah, you guys work a lot together. You work very closely together. Yeah. And you mentioned yourself, this dude's a legend. Yeah. And I would imagine, especially with your years of experience as a teacher, not just as a performer, that you have a special lens or a more precise lens for those moments of like, I've got to take advantage of this resource in front of me right here, and I've got to try to learn and absorb everything I can. Have you been finding those moments to pick this man's brain and talk to him about, his wealth of experience?
You know, Anupam is the kind of person that when you ask, okay, Anupam, you've done 500 movies, like, what is it? And he's like, just be a good person. Or he'll say something that's like so simple but so deep and so honestly heartfelt. But he's so utterly generous with me that he's absolutely the kind of actor who's always there for all of my coverage, always with me on my takes, and is just there. Or he'll, after I'll do a certain take, he'll go, "That's the one they're gonna keep," and he'll just be like, "That was, yesterday we were shooting something and we did a couple takes of it, and as we were walking out of the room, he said, 'You're brilliant. How did you think to do this thing I did?' I said, I really wasn't thinking," and he went. And I was like, and that's the kind of advice he'll give you. Like
when he like calls a take, like that's gonna be the one. Is he usually right? Does he?
He's usually right. He's usually right. Yeah, he's amazing. He's amazing. He really. He's an artist, truly, behind the camera. Like he's incredible. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
This was a fun little moment. Do you guys hang out a lot, or is it where you just happen to be together? You were working together, and you're like, the article's out. Yeah.
He was shooting, and the article had come out that afternoon. And I was just there for a fitting that day, costume fitting. And when he saw me, he's like, "You have to come in my room. Look, this article came out and you're in it." Yeah. And I said, "No, I know, because my mom's friend called and said I have to buy the Post today to give it to her." So and he said, "You must take my copy." And I'm like, "I will not take your copy of it." He goes, I have two. I said, "Okay, I will take your copy because you have two." But yeah, so that's why I took that picture. Yeah.
So cool. He buried the lead. He didn't tell you that he had two.
No.
He'd be way more generous if she doesn't know I got two of these. Yeah,
he would would give it to you if he only had one. He would. That's the person he is. Yeah.
Talk to me about the energy on this set in general. This show, it has its calm moments, but it feels like a very kinetic show. There's always motion, always something going on. And what's it feel like when you're on set, when you're amongst all that, you're in the middle of it?
The set is one of the most generous sets I've ever been on. It's funny because watching the show, there is that kind of, like it's always moving and it's a hospital show. I have never once on set felt like a pressure or a rush to get a take, which is super rare, especially with TV, because you're always shooting out the next episode. They're on such a tight time schedule. And from the top down, from our showrunners, our line producers, everyone from the top down loves everyone else and really like gives everyone space to do their own job. So the energy on set is actually very relaxed and friendly. Yeah.
That's amazing, especially to be able to achieve that on a show sort of this scale. Because you talk about, the pressure to nail a take. Not only are they short for time, but the amount of extras and setups and things that you have to do to get that right. And so for them to give you the space, that's a really cool environment. No wonder you're working with so many great people.
It's magical. And our 6 regulars are all, no one ever feels like anyone is there who's, I actually was thinking as I said it, I said from the top on down, and I should have said across the boards, because you don't ever feel on set like well, so-and-so outranks me, or I should be like, it's just very much like everyone's kind of on an even line. So it's really, really beautiful. Yeah.
That's amazing. You know, as someone who's had the opportunity throughout her career, you've been on so many different stages in front of so many different cameras. You've been film, TV, different types of sets. How do you, talk about energy? How do you calibrate your energy? Is that dictated by the medium more so than the crew and the people that you're working with, or what's that like for you as you go into a?
The medium definitely dictates the energy I use a lot. I grew up, I did a lot of my training doing a lot of theater. But the character, I think, also tells you a lot about the energy that you bring. I was lucky enough to do a film that had just come out also recently where I was sort of this very big, sort of wide, brash kind of woman from Queens. And then at the same time, I'm also getting to do Ella, who is not shy, but yeah, so it really also, the character tells you a little bit how you need to calibrate, I think, yeah.
Pretty amazing. Was that sort of just the universe kind of throwing your way of getting these two different ends of the spectrum, or were you like strategic in your auditions of like, okay, this character is this way and this person's this way, and like trying to?
Oh, that I could have the option to be strategic about my auditions. It just happened to be that way. And I remember actually Anupam saying, "You're being a loud character in this movie," and I'm like, most people would actually be surprised that I was playing actually this quiet character. Yeah, it just kind of works out that way sometimes. Yeah.
What was, you said, you did a lot of training in theater early on. What was your first love? Because you talk about, I was reading up on all your amazing accomplishments, 20 years of writing and arrangement and working in music and all that sort of stuff. What got you first? Was it music? Was it performance on stage? What's your earliest memory of like, oh, I got to do this?
So when I was very, very little, I was like 4, maybe. My grandfather was very active in the theater, in his community theater, and he was a very well-accomplished tap dancer. And I would go see him in his community theater shows, and we'd come home afterwards, and my grandmother would be making dinner, and he would like say a line from the show, and I said the next line, and he said the next line, and I said the next line, and we would do like a whole scene, and my parents would be like, how does she know like the dialogue? And I just loved seeing him and performing and being on stage. So I love theater. I love doing theater. I love participating in theater. And I would say that's my first love, but I'm sort of currently dating film and TV, and it's like we're getting a little serious. Yeah, we might move in together. I don't know yet, but it feels good. Thanks.
Were your parents always supportive from like the very beginning, or were they? Yeah.
I'm very fortunate like that. They were supportive, and I wanted to go to college for theater, and my dad's only stipulation was you have to get a degree. You can't go to a school where you get a certificate. So I was like, okay. So he's like, so you can do something else if you want. And I always wanted to teach and loved teaching, so I'm able to do both, and it's a real gift. And I do feel like one supports the other in such a great way. So, yeah.
So cool. I'd love to hear about, talking about the movie you were in recently, Second Act with, you want to talk about working with some legends and some powerhouses.
Couple.
What an experience. What was the audition process like for that? Did you know that this was a Jennifer Lopez movie? Did you or was it, okay,
yes,
so you knew going in.
I knew it was a Jennifer Lopez movie.
What do you do with those nerves?
Well, you bury them deep down like you do with most of your intense feelings, and then you eat them later. But I knew it was a Jennifer Lopez movie, and I think, if I remember this correct, on my way to the audition, I had found out Leah Remini had just been cast, and so I thought, well, I'm a big, loud Italian, and she's a big, loud Italian. I love you, Leah. You know that I say that with love. But so I was like, oh, I won't book this movie because I will, And so I kind of almost went like, oh, I'll never book this. And so I just kind of went in and like had a good time and left. And I think I met my manager that night for drinks, if I'm right. And so we were like, ha, ha, ha. And then like 2 days later, he was like, you booked this Jennifer Lopez movie. And I think my hands and feet like went numb. I think I totally was like, what do you mean? I was like, not trying as hard. So then I was like, oh, wait, don't try. You'll do better if you don't try. So like things kind of started going better when I just like took that pressure off myself and stopped trying so hard.
So that was the first time that you sort of discovered the secret sauce of kind of like, don't build it up in your head, don't try. Just go in and just kind of go for the ride? Or?
Yes, for auditions for sure, but also for film and TV. Like you can't act. Like you have to just, I know that sounds so weird, but like the minute you feel yourself like, oh, watch this cool move I pulled, then you see it and you go, that was horrible, Deirdre. Yeah. So
It was very transparent. You're
yeah,
like, oh,
immediately.
they're doing a move.
They're doing a move.
Exactly what you don't want.
Like a bad date. Just treat TV acting like a good date.
That's so wild. Yeah. What do you think? You said for auditions and for acting in general, have you tried to apply that anywhere else? Like, have you walked in to teach a class and be like, I'm really gonna phone this in today. I'm not gonna try.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I say phone it in, but like, yeah, but
yeah. You're right. Phone it in and not trying. Two different things.
That's
two totally different things.
No,
that's
but
on me.
No, it's okay. But I will say that I have found some freedom in my life and going like, well, I don't care if you like me or not. You know, like there is, you know, like I think all of the people I've ever looked up to in history have always been like, don't worry about what other people think of you. And you're like, yeah, but, how do you? But then as soon as you sort of like let that go, you kind of go like, oh yeah, like it really is better. Like I'm better.
Okay, here's the tough question.
Go.
In the case of the audition for Jennifer Lopez,
Yep.
you let it go because you thought, it's not going to work. Like, you almost tricked yourself into it.
Mm-hmm.
Now that you know that you have to do that,
Yep.
how do you do it intentionally? How do you harness that energy?
Once you work with Jennifer Lopez, there aren't too many other people that I've encountered. Like, I've met a couple of, like, really amazing people in the history of my career, but I'm like, oh, we all put our underwear on at some point in the day. Like, everyone is kind of the same as you. So you just kind of go like, oh, okay. Like, and Jen was so nice and so wonderful to me and just so amazing that I went, okay, well, if I can hang with her, like I'm officially in the cool kids club. Like I am, like I'm cool, I'm chill.
Did you get to have any of those deep, like I must absorb knowledge conversations with them as well, like between takes? Did you ever like have a moment where all of a sudden it's just you and Jennifer just standing there waiting while they're setting stuff up? Now you've got to spark up conversation with Jennifer Lopez. Where do you
know
start?
What? Yeah. We didn't have to. I mean, we had some like it was lovely to spend time with her. She was a master class in just watching her work. Yeah. So we shot the whole movie in I think 6 weeks, and she took a week off to do concerts in Dubai. So what you learn from her, yeah, totally. That was like her vacation. Swear to God, that was like her vacation. So. Yeah. And then she was shooting like, 29 out of the 30 days, right? So it wasn't like, so watching her work and how she works and how she like conserves her energy, but that was my master class with Jen and watching her treat people well and how she did that. Leah was the person who was like, I would say, I think if we do this take again, I'm going to try. Don't tell me. Never tell me. Just do it. My reaction's going to be better if you don't tell me ahead of time. Yeah. Okay. So, like, it was stuff like that she was more like, do this, do that, come here.
Don't over-communicate.
But Jen's like that, too. But that was, like, I remember learning that from Leah and her telling me that right away. And me being like, okay. I got to smack you, though. But I didn't. But, like, yeah. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So amazing. We've got to, I'm getting the signal. We're going to throw to the audience in just a second. There was one thing that I saw looking through your resume. I think it was on your teaching resume. It said you had worked with the Walt Disney Company.
I have worked with the Walt Disney
Company. What'd you do with them?
I taught for them. We did, it was their outreach and education department. So we would partner with Broadway shows, Disney on Broadway. And, groups would come in and like you would teach them a little portion of material from the show and then they would see the show. I also went with them and I went to a couple different states and like would train teachers in how to bring theater to schools around the country. So I really have a strong passion for teaching, but I can't believe you know my teaching resume so thoroughly.
We like to do a lot of research here.
I know.
So we could, ask the questions that
I've run out of time to say what I know about you, unfortunately, but
I'm just a guy sitting here wearing a grandpa sweater and fancy shoes.
Amazing.
So nice to have you here. I'm enjoying this. I don't want to go to the audience. It's a great audience, though. I'm going to do it. I always do. I promise you'll get your time, and here we are. Okay, I got 2 of them. All right, so let's go ahead. First question from the audience. Microphone. Go for it.
Hi. I was wondering what inspired you to start teaching and how your career as a teacher impacts your career as an actress and vice versa.
Amazing. Thanks for asking. I first started teaching, I think, because I know how to play piano. So it was like a quick way that I made money when I was younger. Like that I was like, nope. Keep your heads out of the gutter. That I just was like, but it was the way I got involved with theater programs like accompanying. And then because I've always been involved in like theater and acting programs, that I feel like when I have to put into words to explain what I do, then sometimes it crystallizes it for me, and then I do it better later. I also feel like when I'm acting, I have to be very self-focused and really prioritize myself. And when I'm teaching, I have to really prioritize my students. So it's a good yin-yang for myself in my life to not get too narcissistic, but also not to get too, what's the word? You know, like where you don't put enough care into yourself. So what is the word?
If you're not taking care of yourself.
If you're not narcissistic, you're too giving. That can't be right.
Yeah, no, that sounds
far
wonderful.
too generous.
Generous?
No, but you guys.
These all
hopefully
sound
get
like
what I
things
mean.
we should be.
Selfless? Overly
Maybe
selfless?
you said selfless. I like that.
Okay.
I don't know if that's it, but sounds better. Well done. What was it? I wanted to ask you a question. Talking about that, in that line of thought, your onset, and how one influences the other. Do you ever find a moment while you're acting where, for someone who's not a teacher outside of that realm, and maybe it's a moment where either they feel like they've messed up or they get in their own head, and they have to kind of know where to put that energy. As a teacher, do you have like a little box where you can go, okay, let's keep going, but this is a teachable moment. I can talk to my class. This is something I've learned something in this moment. Do you ever identify something like that, even if it's a positive thing?
About
like
being in your
the
head?
moment, not just in your head, but in general, like something where it occurs while you're on set and you go, this will be great next time I have to teach this class, or next time I'm talking to a student about this kind of scenario. Like, have you ever actively acknowledged your learning in the moment?
Oh, constantly. I can't think of an example right now, but
Kind of put you on the spot.
you did a little bit. But I think this is an interview. I believe that's what it's for. But I have. I mean, I do. The one thing when you said, or when I identified it as like being in your head, I think the method that I studied, Meisner, is why I work with your studio, is because Meisner is all about be in the moment. Everything's about this person. So it's kind of, if you really click into that, if it's really about the other person, then it's a really great way to get you out of being self-conscious. And there's nothing is happening but this moment right now. So whether I messed up or I don't know what's going to happen, it doesn't matter, because in this moment right now, so that's, you know, it's very like Dalai Lama Zen Buddhism, but it really is the crux of, but I all the time will go to my students, oh, I completely messed up this thing. Oh, it's like, I think I'm my favorite teaching tool in that respect. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We get Kate, one more. We're going to do one more question, and it's coming from right over there. Go for it.
Hi, how's it going?
Hey.
I was curious with stuff like New Amsterdam and Second Act, with the projects that you end up booking, is there ever like a hint that you get to yourself in the audition room that you are gonna get it? Like, is there anything that tips you off?
Oh, my short answer is no. I hate to say it like that, but sometimes I've come out of an audition and they'll say, oh my God, you are so talented. And I'll go, I just nailed that. And I walk out and I go, well, I definitely didn't book it. For some reason, like, you are perfect and the whole thing is perfect. And then for some reason you just go, no. And most of the time when I've booked stuff, I walked out and was like, I have no feeling one way or the other. Not that it was bad, not that it was good, just like that was something. And that's the most successful moments for me, because I just clicked it off my day. And I will say, Leah said that to me too. She goes, I don't ever go on auditions anymore without booking myself something else for later in the day. So it's not the thing I did that day. It's just part of my day. And I like have my sides, I toss them and I like move on. So you're not super focused on it, because whatever's meant to come to you just will come to you, you know? Is that a good answer? Is that okay? Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
General agreement from the whole audience. That's perfect. I'm getting the signal. I got to wrap things up, but I had a lot of fun with you. Thank
I
you
had so much fun with you.
Oh, that's
Thank
great.
you. Thank you guys.
Thank you for coming here. You guys are a great audience.
Thank you.
I'll remind everyone before we do the uproarious applause for Dierdre here. I will remind you, New Amsterdam, Tuesdays, 10/9 Central on NBC. Renewed for a second season. If you haven't watched this show yet, first of all, you should. Second of all, go to Hulu. You can catch up right there. Whole thing's there. I want to thank you one more time, and I'm going to do it with the help of this wonderful audience. Everybody make a ridiculous amount of noise for Deirdre right here. Come on.
Thank you.